Gege Akutami, the creator of Jujutsu Kaisen, must really dislike his fans because he never misses an opportunity to break our hearts. And he must also despise the main character because I can't recall any other shonen protagonist who has been so helplessly broken throughout the story. There will be manga spoilers, so proceed with caution. What happened to Maki and Mai is super sad. It's no secret that these two sisters have lived quite an awful life. Yes, nobody liked Mai when she was first introduced, but that's just because we didn't have the full context. None of us understood the relationship between these two sisters. At least not until chapter 149. Mai sacrifices herself, saves Maki, who she's always said she hated, but in reality deeply loved. She tells Maki that she always knew despite her hard work, Maki would never reach full potential as long as Mai was alive. In a moment that took the twins back to their childhood, Mai asked her big sister to destroy everything in exchange for her tools and power. This resulted in Maki's rebirth. She evolves into an unhinged monstrosity that destroys the clan, which is one of the most satisfying moments in the whole story. But at what cost? People call her female Itachi, but while Itachi had no choice, Maki does it of her own accord. She does it because Mai wanted her to destroy everything. Next, we gotta talk about Megumi's reunion with his sister in the Culling Games. Just look at the pure horror he experiences when he realizes that it's not actually his sister. No, it's somebody else entirely. Someone using her body. Unfortunately for him and Yuji, Murphy's Law had still only just begun. Sukuna takes over Megumi and dominates Yoruzu. But the tragedy of the matter is that Sukuna is using Megumi's body and Yoruzu is using his sister's body. Yeah, Sukuna basically kills his sister while using his body, and he wasn't even strong enough to stop this. Basically, could do nothing but watch. He may still be alive, but his soul has been destroyed. Up next is a moment that makes you laugh, yell, and sob all at the same time. It's Gojo's sliced up body lying in front of Sukuna in chapter 236. Fans said when I said I wanted to see Gojo topless, I didn't mean this. The Jujutsu Kaisen fandom simply hasn't been the same since Gojo's passing. It isn't even about the fact he died, it's how he died that makes it all the more depressing. Even though we waited over 3 years for him to return to the story, he came back without making any kind of difference at all. He didn't even save Megumi, almost as if the author is trolling the fandom at this point. But hey, let's just wait and see where the story goes from here on out. Moving on, an iconic statement by Panda. It's that scene from chapter 147 where he tells Gakuganji that, remember one thing, even pandas cry. It's a bittersweet chapter. We even see Principal Yaga refer to Panda as his son for the first time. And what makes you sob is how when Panda does arrive at the scene, albeit too late, he sees Yaga's lifeless body. He's not angry or spiteful, no. He's able to understand the situation from a completely logical and rational point of view. But whatever, man, scenes where Panda was warmly brought up by the principal flashed through my head. They even had to include those few panels showing how Yaga deeply cared for his cursed puppet's family before revealing his demise. When he says that even pandas cry, even a grown man would have pulled out a tissue or two. I don't know about you guys, there's a lot of deaths in Jujutsu Kaisen, but this one hit me the hardest in the feels. Now, as for this list of depressing Jujutsu Kaisen moments, we also have someone from Kyoto High. 2 of them. The scene we're talking about is from chapter 128. Miwa is on the train having one final conversation with Mekamaru, and right before fading away, he tells her to find her happiness, and that if she is happy, his wish will have come true. As he says this, we see his reflection in the window. He is sitting next to her in this real, healed body, but when Miwa looks at the window, he has already gone, disappeared. There's another scene that features someone from Kyoto High. Norito Shikamo during chapter 194 as he is fighting against Naoya together with Maki. We see a short, somewhat melancholic flashback of a moment from the past where he tries to reconnect with his mother only to discover that she now had a new family. He stops himself and turns back. It's a short 2-page long scene. There's no dialogue, just him staring from a distance as he realizes that he has been replaced. And what makes this even more depressing is that later in chapter chapter 199, when we see his mother talk about him to her new family, we learn that she still loves and thinks about him. He may have thought that he had been replaced, but that was definitely not the case. Overall, this is a bittersweet moment, especially if you're a sucker for family dynamics. If you thought these were sad, brace yourself for the last ones on the list. All of them take place very closely to each other. Heck, moment number 3 and 2 take place in the same exact chapter. We're talking about chapter 120. Sukuna has just obliterated a stupid number of people using malevolent shrine. He has completely flattened and cleansed that entire area. And after he is also done with Maharaga, he gives the body back to Yuji. All the memories of every depraved thing Sukuna has done since taking over, all that horrible guilt suddenly overwhelms him. It brings him to his knees as he breaks down into tears. Yuji's conscience recalls how his grandpa told him to help people, but in this moment, he's done. He cries and writhes in pain as he tells himself to just die already. Keep in mind that an unholy amount of people perished in the Shibuya arc, and he is basically carrying all that guilt on his shoulders. Still, Yuji braces himself and gets up. He needs to fight or he'll be nothing but a murderer. But what next? Just a few panels later, this happens. It's Nanami. He knows he's done. Just a dead man walking, and so as his last moment is literally staring him in the face, he recalls his retirement plan. A beach in Kuantan. A city in Malaysia would have been nice. He'd build a house, finally get around to all the books he never read. But as he is thinking about all of this, he is faced with Mahito. Fans are screaming at the screen, "No!" But it's over. But Haibara, an old friend, points his finger to the right. Nanami turns and it's Yuji. And even though he didn't want to say it, even though he feared that it would become a curse for our boy, Nanami said his last words. "You've got it from here." And Mahito obliterates him right there and then. And what about Yuji? He was experiencing suicidal thoughts a few moments ago, and now this? The poor dude just can't catch a break. But hey, we still have not seen the most depressing Jujutsu Kaisen moment. It's Nobara. It happens 5 chapters after Nanami's death. We see her have a full flashback, and then just as Yuji arrives at the scene, she is shot. In her final moment, she tells Yuji, "It wasn't so bad, was it?" And the thing about this scene is how broken Yuji is at this point. You see, when Junpei turned into the platypus from Phineas and Ferb, he went into rage mode. The same happened when Nanami died. But what about this specific point in the story? The narrator himself said Yuji's resolve had reached its limit a long time ago. That's it, he gives up. Fortunately, Todo, our collective best friend, arrives and helps him regain himself. In chapter 127, after Todo tells Yuji to get up, and he finally snaps out of it, we see some of the most powerful dialogue in modern-day shonen. Yuji apologizes to Nanami while pulling back his fist for a black flash. He says that he was about to take the easy way out, how he was using his sins as an excuse to run away. He lands a full-scale black flash at Mahito and tells Nanami that he will take on his share of suffering too, as if Yuji's life isn't sad enough already as it is. Of course, there are still many other depressing moments in this story. We didn't even talk about Junpei's death. So if you feel like we missed your favorite moment, make sure you mention it in the comments section down below.